Hi, everybody. I'm Dawn. I'm your astrologer. And I wanted to just jump on here real quickly, real impromptu, and give you an overview of the energy of the Gemini full moon, which occurs on the 18th. This is really significant. It's the last full moon of the year, and it's happening in Gemini, where the North Node is finishing up its last little bit of transit, where it's been for the last 18 months. And so the North Node of Destiny, the lunar North Node, is at 0 degrees during this full moon. It's a pivotal time energetically, spiritually, collectively, as the energy of the collective moving with the nodes of destiny ingresses back, because the nodes move backwards into the sign of Taurus. And so all of these Gemini ideas, these thoughts, these conversations, the information, everything that we have been mulling around in our minds now materializes over the next 18 months. And so whatever has been stirred in your life, wherever Gemini is in your personal chart, this is where the node of destiny has been moving through. And so what has been stirred up? What ideas, creative projects, what area of your life have you been putting a lot of thought into, looking at things from a different perspective, coming up with new ideas regarding your future? Well, now these ideas take physical form. They materialize in the fixed earth sign of Taurus, the physical body. And so this full moon is happening in Gemini, where this nodal shift is occurring. This is a culmination time. A full moon is always a culmination cycle, a completion. Something is completing, something that we have been working on for the past year and a half. And the nodes of destiny will not be back moving through Gemini in this place in our lives, in our charts, for another at least 18 years. And so this is a big energetic shift. During this full moon, the moon will be at 27 degrees of Gemini, directly opposing the sun at 27 degrees of Sagittarius, where the south node has been. Also, Sagittarius 27 degrees is conjunct the Galactic Center, that spark of our galaxy's creation. It is very symbolic of an ushering in of higher consciousness, that Sagittarius belief system, the scholar that seeks the higher spiritual truth. And so with this full moon occurring on this axis where the sun is at 27 degrees, Sagittarius conjunct the Galactic Center, opposing the moon at 27 degrees of Gemini, where the nodal axis is shifting from. It's very significant that we are ending this cycle at this time of the year, at the end of the year, the final full moon of the year, right before the winter solstice, which occurs on the 21st. And so just a couple of things that I wanted to just touch base on regarding this full moon is that the ruler of Gemini is Mercury. Mercury is our mercurial mind, our ability to perceive thoughts and communicate them. And so these ideas are ready to take some tangible form. Mercury just moved into the serious stoic sign of Capricorn, the earth sign that regulates the structures of our everyday lives, our routines, finances, baking, institutions, the government, authority, where Saturn is. Saturn, the authority. And so Mercury has just, Saturn is not in Capricorn, Saturn's in Aquarius, but Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, so it represents the authority. So Mercury just moved into Capricorn, and Pluto and Venus are also in the sign of Capricorn. As a matter of fact, setting the stage for next year, the biggest energy is that during the time of this full moon, Venus is conjoined to Pluto, just had an exact conjunction, I think, on the 11th, will station retrograde and retrograde through Capricorn until the end of January, the day after this full moon. On the 19th, Venus stations retrograde for a really long haul through the end of January and will not leave Capricorn. The old structures, the old way of doing things, the old values. And so here we have mind and heart in Capricorn with Pluto. Mercury, the mind, the ruler of this full moon. Venus, our values, the desires of our heart, how we're looking at the old traditions in our lives during this time of year, and how our values have changed. And now we're ready to have some serious conversations regarding what must transform, what must end from the past, from the way that we've always done things. And Venus will be here, not leave Capricorn until March of next year. And so this is an energy that will play out and is very present during this Gemini full moon. Now, during the full moon, Mercury, newly arrived in Capricorn, will be in a square to Chiron, which represents our wounded healer. Chiron is transiting the sign of Aries, the identity, ourself, our desires. And so with the ruler of this full moon in Capricorn in a square to Chiron, this could be some challenge, some inability to have things play out exactly as we had thought they would, especially during this time of year. So with it in a square to Chiron and Aries, we may not get what we want. We may have to change our mind. We may have some delays. You know, Mercury is in Capricorn. This rules travel. This rules, you know, what this really means with this square is that we may have to entertain a change of plans throughout the next week at least. And during a time where we're so steeped in tradition, it would really behoove us to be very flexible with this. We're getting some support because in addition to the square from Mercury to Chiron and Aries, our identity, our desires, our drive, our passions, Mercury will be also trining Uranus in the sign of Taurus, where the node is shifting into the grounded earth sign, abundance, how we draw abundance to us. And so Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius and the radical game changer, right? And Saturn, the restriction, the ruler of Capricorn, is transiting Aquarius. And as a matter of fact, on the 24th, 25th, right after this full moon and around the holidays, we will have the final Saturn-Uranus square. This also represents that we will see some restrictions, maybe in terms of travel, maybe in terms of global regulations. So that will leave us in a position to do nothing but have to be open-minded about seeing things, doing things differently, especially if we're so steeped in the holidays have to look like this because it's always looked like this. Being open-minded to doing things in a different way, aligning with new values, creating new traditions. Uranus in this trine to the energy of the full moon and Mercury, the ruler of it during this lunation, allows us to make some radical shifts. It allows us to liberate our minds, to free our minds from those conditions and programs of the past. So that is very supportive energy. Now, Venus is in Capricorn at 26 degrees. Pluto's at 25 degrees. Venus stations retrograde the day after the full moon. Chiron and Aries stations direct, really signaling a time to find a way to act on our desires by doing things differently. And Mars, the ruler of Aries during this lunation, Mars has just moved into Sagittarius, where the sun is, where the south node is leaving. Mars is our action planet, our drive, our desires, the warrior energy within us, the ruler of Aries, our sign of identity, where Chiron is. During this full moon, Mars will be at 4 degrees of Sagittarius and in a trine to Chiron, which means Chiron, our wounded healer, in the sign of identity, stationing direct right after this full moon in a square to Mercury, having to think of things differently. Now, Mars in Sagittarius is trying to Chiron, which is supporting innovative action, supporting a radical change, supporting new acts of freedom, of sovereignty, creating new traditions which align with our new values. Mars allows us to put that into action. So that's super supportive. Now, if we do experience some slowdowns, some delays, some change of plans, some restrictions, some disappointments, really embracing the new, creating new structures of our everyday lives that align with our values. Like, this is a time for a new tradition. You know, this is a time for new plans. This is a time to hang out with our new tribe and have the holidays with our real family instead of our family of origin, if that is something that does not support us at this time in our lives. All of these things are an option. The very amazing breakthrough supportive energy of this final full moon, this shifting energy in our mindset, in our views, in our values, in our ability to financially sustain in our everyday lives and draw abundance to us, we are getting support from the planet Jupiter, the great benefic, the planet of luck and abundance and blessings. Jupiter is at the very final degrees of Aquarius, where Jupiter has been traveling with Saturn, the restriction, the authority. So we may get this final last expansion of some kind of suppressive energy or restrictive energy globally and collectively. But Jupiter during this full moon is in a wonderful trine to the moon. Jupiter's at 28 of Aquarius, trine to the moon at 27 of Gemini. So any change of mind, any new mindset, any new avenue of expansion into the future, seeing things differently, any movability, mutability of our minds is so super supported and can create some lasting abundance and really set the stage, to fulfill our future dreams, because Jupiter is at the end of Aquarius, moving into Pisces, wish fulfillment, return of abundance, divine inspiration. I think the underlying story here is that it's going to take some action, doing things differently, thinking about things differently, and letting go of the past, which no longer serves and isn't our truth and doesn't create abundance and doesn't represent our desires for the future, right? And so our ability to release the past, again, is the underlying theme of receiving abundance and blessing in this time of shift. Jupiter will be trine to the moon and Gemini, and a very supportive sextile to the Sun, conjunct the Galactic Center in Sagittarius. And so Jupiter is the higher truth, the higher spiritual truth, and it always brings blessings and optimism and abundance into our lives. And so with this supportive sextile, this connection to the Sun, it's letting the light shine in that if we receive a different mindset, a higher perception, a different reality, and can embrace the beauty of that change, then we can really embody the blessings that are being set up with this stage of events, these cosmic events, this culmination cycle, this energetic shift, this changing of the energy of where our destiny is taking us as an individual, as a collective, and allowing us to really get into a place where we have the movability to end an old dream, embrace a new one, and start to take action, have conversations, and a change in mindset that supports that wish fulfillment, that dream fulfillment. And so I am so excited that we are all going through this time together. We're preparing for the winter solstice on the 21st, final Uranus Saturn square on the 24th. Venus will be retrograding. Mercury will retrograde starting out in Capricorn. All of our Mercury retrogrades will be in the earth signs next year. Really, this can be an ending of an old dream, the beginning of a new one, and a way to really make the dream a reality, to bring heaven down to earth and to create some peace and blessing and abundance in our lives next year. So I wish you all the happiest of holidays, and thank you so much for letting me share.